Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to our November craft crates. I'm super excited to get started on our fun gingerbread houses and people, friends, and all of the other stuff. So I've actually kind of gotten started on a while back with painting a few things, and so I'm just gonna show you a couple of things that have already been base coated and talk about them for a second, and then talk to you about show you a couple other things. So basically, I ended up getting these. We just painted them all at the same time. It was just faster. So easy peasy, base coat 1 to 2 coats. I am gonna paint these with you really quick. These are the house, the rooftop. And then my houses, I'm actually just gonna paint over them. They're currently white right now. Long story, we were using these 3 for something else, and I realized after I got them painted and up, I didn't love the size, so we ended up scrapping them and restarting. But they were the perfect size for gingerbreads. So I'm just going to recycle, reuse them. So mine might take a couple extra coats because I am covering up white, where yours probably won't. That was silly of me. So you can do all the sides, except I don't really recommend painting the bottom. I feel like wood on wood with wood glue just dries a lot faster, and it just makes it a little bit more sturdy. You don't really need this to be all perfect because we are gonna glue it. We'll put the Mod Podge on it and put our snow on there in a little bit. So I'm just getting like a good coat on there now though. Like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty. And excuse my, I don't have tablecloth or anything in here. Freddie is actually on a big Zoom call right now out there in our garage. So I'm trying to hopefully have what I need just to get through at this point. But the time that it started was a little questionable, so he ended up racing out there because they had 3 different times going. I think whoever did it was a little confused with the worldwide time zones happening. So anywho, I'll go out there if I have to, but I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. So again, 1 to 2 coats on here. I really recommend using your blue paintbrush, which I was planning to go get all of my supplies out there, but I'm using this brush now because he actually was using it for something else earlier. So that is how I just fill in the grooves with a paintbrush. And don't worry about going outside of the groove, the lines, because we are gonna paint that. And I recommend using your sponge, either your little handheld makeup looking wedgie sponge or or one with the handle. And just kind of like drop it. See if I can drop it right on in there. I tried so many different ways of doing these, and honestly, I don't like this, but this is the best way that it ended up being because it's just kind of a pain. With the gnomes, I don't paint in the grooves, so do everything possible not to. And these, I'm painting away in the grooves, so it's just different. For me, I definitely tried to do like a paint pen down in there, but it wasn't long enough and couldn't get it to fit properly without like killing the tip of it, and that wasn't worth it. So we're just gonna do this, and I'll show you how I go from here. I have a few of my other items that I'm needing to paint out as well as the numbers are coming in. I'm just painting more to get caught up a little bit. So, all right, so that is all of the white. I'm gonna just kind of put this off to the side a little bit. And let it dry, and then, because I don't have my regular, I would rather use like my wedge sponge for this, but I'm gonna let him be without interrupting him. So this is the color that I ended up finding. It's Hazelnut Waverly. I found it over the summer at Walmart. Happened to have it and I thought it would be a great color. I think I bought it in about August, so I'm pretty sure this is like a standard color that they would have. Sorry, I never drink soda ever, but I needed one today. Okay, so going to paint my house, and actually there is one here, but this is a very, very well loved one, so we'll see how it works. So basically, these guys are already dry. So basically, hopefully it's not too well loved and I'll be able to do this, but I just got some paint on there. Let's see which side is gonna be better. If you just go really flat and straight, you see it if I do that, okay? If I can zoom in a little bit. Nope, it won't let me zoom. I'm thinking this side of the brush is better. Forgot I had this grungy one in here. So we'll try it. So if you just go really flat, like that, check it out. Okay, and we're just going to do that on the bottom. I just did her dress and I didn't mean to, but I'm also gonna do her head because I did my little girls in red, but we're gonna do the head. Brush is definitely more grungy. Now with the white paint on there currently, it is gonna take a little bit to kind of, you might have to do a couple of coats of this. But again, this is like, oh my gosh, so much faster and easier than trying to like take a little brush and go around the edges and not get it down into the groove. So this was like trial and error for sure. And for us, we found this to be best. So I am gonna go around her as well. The one thing that I will just give you a heads up on is be careful when you get into like her crotch area, because there is like a little opening on there where paint definitely can go right up on in there, and then you'll have to fix that. So you'll just kind of want to watch that right there. And then also on the sides, it's kind of like the same thing. Some of this in here, it's gonna drive me nuts. I don't have my foil going, but that's okay. Today's been just kind of like doing everything like, okay, that's drying, I'm gonna move on to this project, and that's drying, so I'm not as organized as I typically try to be. But I don't want you guys waiting for these videos, so. All right, so she's drying. I'll do the boy really quick as well, and then we'll move on to the house, and then I will come back. And put it down so you guys can see me. So I'm just kind of like doing that, doing my thing, dragging it across. You don't want too much paint on there because it, you know, it will get into the groove if you're not careful, but just drag it nice and flat. The boy's a little different because his body is brown, so, and if you're really brave, you can do the whole foot and leg like all at the same time. I say make sure that you're comfortable with it and how much paint you have on it before you drag and do both. And I also found that if you go the long way with the grooves, that was better than going like over top of them. So like You see how the zigzag is like this? I'm actually gonna go up and down with it versus this way. I just found that I don't know if it's gravity or what, but it felt like, oh shoot, I just got some in there because I had too much paint. So I'll show you how I fix those mistakes really quick. Going to go around, just being careful with his grooves as well. These are definitely time consuming, but they're so cute, and I hope you guys really do enjoy them for years to come, because I think that they're worth it. And I think that, you know, it takes a little bit of extra time, but I think that they, because I was getting so frustrated when I was painting my prototypes over the summer that I almost actually flipped them to the back side where it's nice and flat. So if you really get frustrated or you just don't want to deal with it, going through the grooves, that is totally an option. And what I would recommend, and what I almost did, was just take a paint pen for the squiggly marks and fill it in yourself. You just paint the whole thing brown and then take a paint pen and fill it in. Okay. A little bit more. Okay. Hey, Kyler?
Yeah.
I have somebody coming by to pick something up, so can you just let me know when you see someone? Thank you. And with this, it's actually, I have a really hard time, especially during the daytime. At night, it's not so bad, but you can tell if it's like actually wet paint or if it's like semi-drying. Like if I need more on there, I've been struggling with that for sure this whole process. So, all right, so he's done. I'm gonna show you really quick. I think my X-Acto is over here. Yes. So if you do get it down into the groove, it happens, trust me, we've been doing it ourselves, and I just get my little X-Acto and get into the groove and just kind of try to scrape it out. And usually, especially if it's like semi-wet still, I can get it out. You might have to touch up a little bit. But and then what I also found was the best way to touch up, if you have to touch up the white, is to take your X-Acto knife and just to shove some white down on into that little groove and move on, move along, move along. If you have a paintbrush that's small enough that you can get in there, then great. I did have one, but like after I went through the groove so many different times, it just started to really expand and it kind of became kind of a pain in the butt. So it's right here. So I'll probably end up giving him a little bit of a white and bronze touch up. So this is coat number 1. It's easily going to be 2, sometimes 3 coats to cover the white mainly, but it's okay. Just a heads up on that. Next, I am going to paint my house. Like I said, yours are going to be brown, and I could just paint the other side, but it's okay. I always find that with these, especially because we're doing wood glue on the top, I find it to be easier to not paint the top. I feel like the glue just kind of sticks a little bit better. I also did not paint the bottoms. I usually don't. I don't know why. Sometimes I do with, you know, some signs, but with my houses, I usually leave them blank. Just my personal weirdness of preference, I guess. And I would say it depends on the brown that you choose, but you probably will need 2 coats for this. I might need 3 in this case, only because I'm covering up something else. Probably good. Let's see. I said I don't have my tablecloth. I have nowhere to set anything. Thinking. All right, so we're gonna let this dry for a minute. I'm going to work on a couple of other projects, and I'll be back in just a bit.